Just one number, 651-461-9226. The City's One Plumbing Talk and Text Line on News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
And here's the star of the show and your host,
Jason DeRusha.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRusha.
Are you mad that federal law enforcement agents, when they surrounded a South Minneapolis Mexican restaurant, they say it was part of a drugs and money laundering investigation? But are you mad that those federal agents had their faces covered? It is unusual. It is unusual when you're used to local police, sheriffs, deputies, to see a bunch of agents come in, heavily militarized, which, I got to be honest, the freak out about that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But the question about covering the face of an agent, I want to know what you think. 651-461-9226. Because we are a country that thrives on accountability. The government, and by extension, the law enforcement, they're of the people. There's been a lot of pushback over the last 24 hours about law enforcement having their faces covered. And it's not just here in Minneapolis. It's been a complaint about immigration actions, specifically all over the country. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. And yet I understand why law enforcement is doing it. I'm not quite sure what the solution is here, which is why I want to know what you think about this at 651-461-9226. The background is this. And you saw the images, I assume, yesterday as there was a large law enforcement presence. There has been quite a social media freakout. And in the neighborhood, justifiable concern. I think there is, I don't know, it's always hard when you're on the outside and you see this and you think, look, as a rational human being, we got to let law enforcement go out there and try to bust money launderers and drug runners, right? I mean, come on. Who is defending that? Not me. So we need to allow the FBI and Homeland Security and all of the federal agents without having the city council yelling about fascism and some of the crazy stuff that's coming out of people's mouths in the elected officials. Now, that said, if you live in that neighborhood, I get it. I get it. I don't judge it. I understand why it would be disconcerting when it feels like the troops are rolling into your neighborhood. There was a time in this country when the troops came rolling into our neighborhood. We were grateful for it, right? Like, thank goodness the cops are out there busting people who are doing no good. Right now, there is such distrust. Such distrust. Part of what maybe breeds that distrust is when you see officers and agents with their faces covered. Now, the question that I've been struggling with is whether the reality of the world where you've got, look, if you're a law enforcement agent right now and you're doing your job, man, the reality is like you've got social media warriors out there doxing you, harassing you, going after your family. So that's a risk of this as well. To that end, the acting head of ICE talked about this because the noise you're hearing about this issue here in the Twin Cities is happening all over the country. And on Twitter or X right now, Nikki Ramsey says there's no accountability when you have agents masked. Now anyone can cosplay as ICE or a Fed, and given the times and how they ambush people, it's not okay. 651-461-9226. I want you to hear the explanation that the acting head of ICE gave about this issue. He was asked about it in Boston. This is Todd Lyons, the acting ICE director, because the same issue came up over immigration action in Boston about officers wearing masks.
So a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death to their families. The mask question. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service. We arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorists?
So that's the perspective of the acting ICE director. It's a tricky balance for me. I do genuinely struggle with this because I do think that the acting ICE director is right. And if I were a law enforcement agent, I think I would want to cover my face as well. And for those of you who doubt that the officers had their faces covered, I'd love for you to visit our YouTube account at youtube.com/WCCO radio, because I'm showing pictures right now from the Minnesota Star Tribune. These are pictures from Elizabeth Flores, great photographer for the Star Tribune. Elizabeth took these photos, and you see federal agents, almost all of them, who are standing and surrounding Las Cuatro Milpas on Lake Street, have everything but their eyes covered. So whether it's like, it's those, I don't know what you call these things. It's like the sort of silk fabric you see skiers wear.
Was it like the neck gaiters that
It's like
we
a
saw
gaiter.
a bunch of those?
That's right, the neck gaiter.
During like the pandemic.
There's one police officer with Homeland Security kind of patch on his arm that's shown with an American flag gaiter. And I don't know, man. Like, I get it. I get the fact that you are concerned that your family could be doxxed and that you become the target of harassment. What I struggle with is is that part of the job? This is a weighing question. What is more important? Is it more important to be able to identify who are these people who are showing up and are claiming to be ICE? And Ugel on YouTube says, my concern is that random people can pretend to be ICE. If I were a kidnapper, it's a perfect costume. Now, the concern of Nikki and the concern of Ugel it's a real concern in this particular scenario. There was no doubt this was a law enforcement action. Whether you agree with, look, anyone who agrees or disagrees, like, you don't really know what you're talking about. Like, we don't know if it was legitimate or illegitimate. We don't know. They say it was not an immigration action. I believe that. I would also say, like, do we need ICE to be hanging around then? Like, no. How about no? If you don't want everyone to question, is this an immigration action or not? Have the ICE guys in plain clothes like 2 blocks away. What are we doing? But there is something that makes me a little uncomfortable about seeing all these officers with their faces covered. Jeff is in Sauk Rapids on the CCO Talk and Text line, 651-461-9226. Jeff, I'm
Jason.
conflicted on this. I understand why the law enforcement agents would feel like they need to protect themselves and their families, but it sure looks like I don't know. Doesn't look like America policing in America to me.
I'm not conflicted one bit. When it comes to civil liberties, protection of the populace, err on the side of caution, take off the masks. About a week and a half ago, Governor Walz got a lot of criticism for referring to ICE as Trump's Gestapo, I believe. Well, he may have overstated a little bit, but you know what? We don't need a bunch of masked stormtroopers rolling around, raising hell, shoving people around. There was a video a couple of days of maybe it was an FBI guy that shoved an old man to the sidewalk. We don't need that. And as far as you ICE guys, if you're afraid to show your mug, get a different job.
Yeah.
Don't be a sissy.
Yeah.
I used to be law enforcement. I know what it's like. I don't care. You put on your uniform, you show your face, you wear a nameplate, you wear your badge, go to work, and, well, that's just the way it is.
And that is the way it is, right? Yeah, thanks, Jeff. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the reality. That's the expectation we have for local police, right? You have your name displayed. If someone asks for your badge number, you give the badge number. Why should this be any different? Lots of text coming in. We'll share more of your reaction. The question is simple. Should law enforcement be able to cover their faces when they're doing a big action like this? 651-461-9226. Drive Time continues here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about your dinner plans for tonight. It's Jason here from my friends at the Minnesota Pork Board. Bacon is just the beginning when it comes to pork. So many options, so many flavors, so many experiences, so many ways you can make pork a part of your life. You know the benefits. It's lean, it's high in protein. You also know it's delicious. Yeah, we're having pork for dinner tonight. For me, it starts with that flavor. Barbecue season, of course. You got your pork chops. You've got your pork tenderloin, which is so good on the grill. And maybe this weekend, you're already planning ahead. Father's Day right around the corner. Is Dad getting the smoker out? Let's get those ribs on there. Versatility is another big plus for pork. If you like it spicy or you like Asian flavors or you like Latin flavors, so many ideas to get you started in the recipe section of mnpork.com. You name it. For me, there's just something about pork that works. 3,000 family farmers is a big part of it. Minnesotans making sure they take care of their pigs, take care of their people, and they're taking care of our planet as well, from the soil to the sky. Taste what pork can do. Get to the grocery store or butcher shop. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
You need parts? We got parts. Product availability? Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select brake pads for $10 more, or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or import direct pads for just $20. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. If you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom, water in the sink's overstaying its welcome, you're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Chances are you wanted a home with enough space for your growing family when you were younger. If you bought one and the kids are older now and have moved out, you've probably asked yourself if all the maintenance that comes along with owning a bigger home is really worth it. Hey, it's Benita. If you're thinking of downsizing, you need to call my friend, the Good Neighbor Agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Dean and Nancy did that, and they had a huge property with almost 12 acres of land. They contacted John, and he was able to do things fast for them for top dollar. Dean and Nancy's home sold in less than 72 hours for more than $25,000 over the asking price. You can have this happen too. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000. Online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom, water in the sinks overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Drive Time with DeRusha resumes now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I mean, I'm genuinely conflicted on this. I really am, because I understand the law enforcement perspective of this and a texter, as we're talking about whether we're okay with having the FBI or Homeland Security agents, U.S. Marshals, are we okay with them covering their face? Texter says, do you think only the good guys have facial recognition? Don't be too surprised if the cartels have this technology and can go after law enforcement and families after raids like this. I mean, there's validity to that. Another texter, they need anonymity to be able to perform their jobs and keep their own personal safety. Another texter says, don't get why they are covering their faces. Are they embarrassed? They don't want to get flack from family members? They're not really ICE agents, or maybe they really are ICE agents. You know, the other part is from a texter, says Jason, and this is a retired law enforcement officer. The reason they have their faces covered is because they work undercover. And they can't allow their faces to be seen because it could jeopardize the current and other investigations. And I would say, then you probably should not be on the front line of doing the raid. You can work undercover, but you don't have to be the one that serves the warrant. I mean, law enforcement has been dealing with this issue, the issue of officers being identified by the bad guys and being threatened for a long time. That's not new, Dan.
No, that's not new.
But this is kind of new, like to have them all.
This kind of federal response.
The federal response.
Yeah, is something we don't see terribly often.
And if you had local cops doing that, I think people would lose their mind.
Well, and that was the fear. That was why the reaction was as strong as it was yesterday, because when you have Hennepin County Sheriff's Office there and you have Minneapolis showing up at one point, it's not clear. Are they participating in this raid, or are they just there to try and keep the peace with the crowd that had assembled? And that's how things easily get out of control. I don't necessarily buy I mean, in that picture you showed, there was half a dozen guys standing there.
Yeah.
All of those I'm supposed to buy. All of those were involved in this undercover project. I don't know. The other thing that isn't getting said here is that there is an intimidation factor when you have military style vehicles showing up and you have federal officers getting out in military gear, holding military style weapons with their faces covered. There is a certain intimidation factor. And we know, better or worse, good or bad, however you want to judge it, but our president loves to be the big tough guy and loves this look. There's no question about that. So they're serving the ethos, do you say, of this administration to a degree in this. That's just part of it. I'm not saying it's all of it,
right? But
that's certainly a part of it too. And we have, as a society, have to ask ourselves, are law enforcement officials here to protect people, or are they here to intimidate people? And that's a real tricky line to find the balance on.
Yeah, and I'm not upset about the big weaponry and the helmets and the bulletproof vests like some people are. I think if you are responding to you're doing a raid where you have reason to believe you got a warrant, a judge approved it. You have reason to believe that there's drug smuggling and money laundering going on. There's also reason to believe that the place you're raiding is loaded with weapons. So I have zero issue with the helmets and the bulletproof. And now, I mean, I don't know why we're camouflaged exactly. I think that's just what their gear is. But, I do think it's valid to say, like, all right, look, the people who are complaining about this, are they going to feel better if, like, the uniforms were plain blue instead of camouflage? I don't think so. But I do think it's valid to ask questions about covering the face. I don't know. Mike's in Woodbury. Mike, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Jason. First of all, though, and then being a standpoint, having past experience in public service, well, I never personally wore any SWAT gear during my tenure. But, well, usually you have to understand, though, that sometimes the facial coverings, I mean, for purpose, they serve as a purpose to protect the officers from a whole variety of threats. You know what I mean? I mean, if that's something has a known documented case or alleged to have pose any kind of extreme imminent threat to not just themselves but to others or the community or general public as well, they have to take various extreme precautions to protect. And sometimes facial coverings are usually an example. And sometimes if the known assailants, when they're going to someone's place to bust them, right, you never know about what these people are capable of doing. Sometimes they could use deadly chemicals of whatever kind, and once that someone can breathe in those chemicals, depending on.
That's not the kind of mask we're talking about.
Well,
though, right?
you have to. You have to understand. Sometimes you don't know these people. Sometimes,
but these guys are wearing like a gaiter. If there's some sort of chemical agent or something, a gaiter isn't going to help you. This is done to hide your identity, and the head of ICE just said why they're covering their face, because they're worried they're going to be doxxed or their families are going to be criticized, or because we're in such a volatile situation now that people will come after these law enforcement agents. I'm just not sure if that's valid. If we're okay with saying, all right, because there are some lunatics out there who are going to come after the cops, then now you can cover your face and with, I don't know. Maybe it should be part of the official uniform if we're going to decide that it is okay to cover your face. But I don't know. I think it's important for us as civilians to be able to identify who the law enforcement is when they're responding. I just don't. Now, I also understand the side of it where if I were a cop, I would be like, look, we see the reaction. You have city council members saying that there's fascism on display. So the elected officials are not exactly being the grown-ups in this scenario, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know. I feel very conflicted about it. I really do. Texter says, maybe you should stop stirring the pot. Let the cops do their work. Join the force if you can do it better. Come on now. Like, there are people out there, and I criticize the people who reflexively are mad about anything the police do. And I also will criticize those of you who cannot handle having a conversation about whether we're doing it the way we like or not. We can talk about this stuff. It doesn't mean we do not love and support law enforcement. We do. I am grateful that these federal agents came and are trying to put an end to drug smuggling and money laundering. Thank you. I'm grateful for it. I think it's also fair to say, like, is this how we do it? Let's break. When we come back, a Twin Cities reporter got an interview with the family of one of the victims in that just disgusting, abhorrent, anti-Semitic murder that happened outside an Israeli embassy. We will talk with Jonah Kaplan about the conversation he had with Sarah Milgrim's family. It's making news all over the country, and we're talking to the reporter who made it happen in just a minute here on Drive Time.
It's the Afternoon Ride with Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Let's take care of our skin. It is Jason here for Terrene Dermatology. The summer is here. The weather is getting nicer. We're spending more time outside. It is so important to take care of your skin. Terrene Dermatology is there for you. They have clinics all over the metro area. And the beauty of that for you is that you can get into Terrene Dermatology within 3 weeks. It's almost unheard of. If you've tried to get an appointment for a dermatologist lately, oh, good luck. It might take you 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I was talking with Dr. Mohiba Terrene the other day, and she told me part of why they opened a clinic in Lakeville, just open, is because people in Lakeville were having to wait 4 months to get a dermatologist appointment. No more. You can book online at Terrene, Tareen, dermatology.com. I go there. I bring my family there. My wife and my kids go see Dr. Mohiba Terrene. But you should know that they're there for you within 3 weeks. It's incredible. If you've never had a full body skin checkup, get it done. Farmington, Lakeville, Lindstrom, Hudson, Tareen, TereneDermatology.com.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Summer is around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending time with family and planning that summer trip. Trust your local gutter pros, Advantage Home Pros. Now your local custom roofing pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials, our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros. AdvantageHomePros.com.
At California Psychics, we know that sometimes you can wake up thinking,
I don't know if I'm in the right career, or the right relationship.
but whatever your life dilemma, at California Psychics, we'll give you the guidance you need to feel certain about your life choices. And because we only connect you with the very best, we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com today for limited time offers.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
Looking for the best way to travel? Jefferson Lines is your top choice for daily transportation. Now offering daily trips from Minneapolis VA Medical Center to St. Cloud VA Medical Center for as low as $11. With routes to every corner of Minnesota and thousands of destinations nationwide, Jefferson Lines makes travel easy and convenient. Enjoy free Wi-Fi, individual charging outlets, and reclining seats for a comfortable, connected ride. Hurry, seats are filling up fast. Book your next trip today at jeffersonlines.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by American Rare Coin and Collectibles. Find them at AmericanRareCoinAndCollectibles.com. 694 eastbound, slow ride, essentially, as you come away from as far back as Zane. Speeds for the most part just below the postal route toward 35E. And westbound jamming up as you move past Hanson Boulevard. You're going to find slowdowns in place traveling across town both directions between Cedar and Gleason. If you've inherited valuable coins, gold, silver, or jewelry, where do you turn? American Rare Coin and Collectibles. For over 30 years, American Rare Coin has been purchasing valuable coin and precious metals collections with honesty, transparency, and immediate payment. American Rare Coin and Collectibles.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw & Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, the weather is brought to you by Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys seeking justice for the injured. You can find them at Minnesota Personal Injury, MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Here is Chris Schaefer.
Fresher air, a partly cloudy sky will cool back to 59 tonight with a pretty calm wind. Mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, warming up to about 80. Rain showers move in on Friday. There'll be a wave early in the morning, then some scattered showers possible later in the day. 70 will be the high. Saturday looks dry at this point with a better chance of rain early on Sunday.
All right now in downtown Minneapolis, it is pretty nice out, isn't it? 77 degrees, a little bit of sun out there here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
3 hours.
No, thanks.
3 hours.
That's too long. 3 hours?
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, we reached out to a Minneapolis City Council member, Michael Rainville, about Boom Island Park and some of the chaos that have been going on out there. And Council member Rainville is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker hotline right now. Mike, good to visit with you.
Thank you, Jason. It's good to talk to you again.
So I'm going to ask you about Boom Island in a second, but we spent our first half hour talking a little bit about the federal agents who were doing that raid in South Minneapolis yesterday, and there's been quite a bit of noise about it. But one of the issues we talked about was the comfort level with having officers with like gaiters over their face so you can't see their face. I just kind of wonder what you think about that. I can't imagine we'd be too comfortable with Minneapolis police officers concealing their faces, but federal agents around the country, we've seen them, and there's been discussion about that as to whether or not it's appropriate. What do you think?
Well, I actually listened to your last caller. It was a retired officer who talked about he never covered his face, and that's part of the job. I found that to be pretty insightful. We do not allow that in Minneapolis. I have no idea of the dangers that the federal enforcement face.
Yeah,
I can only imagine.
Oh
I
my
can only
gosh,
imagine.
right?
So,
Yeah, and that's why I'm
Right.
sort of mixed on it, right? Because as an American, there's something uncomfortable about having officers with their now in this scenario. Look, we all knew this wasn't like somebody imitating an officer. This was clearly a law enforcement action that was going on. But I do understand people saying like, I don't know, like if they're concealing their face, like what stops them from doing something and we never have any idea who it is. So I don't know. I see it from both perspectives for sure.
well, and then the other thing is people are all amped up because they thought it was an immigration effort. It wasn't. And you could see the violence that crowd was bringing to the officers. So,
Well, some of your colleagues were sort of fanning the flames, I think, don't you?
well, I know, and you are speaking the truth, Jason.
Yeah.
They fanned the flames. They threw gas on the fire.
And I get it. Like, look, we're all, while I am all in favor of cracking down on illegal immigration and cracking down on people who are criminals who are here, I do think like we also know reality. And the reality is like we have a lot of very good, hardworking neighbors who are scared right now. And I'm empathetic for that as well. But like we got to be more responsible with what's going on, I think, especially if you're an elected official.
Exactly. If you're an elected official, you should be calming down society, creating the hope that things are going to get better. You shouldn't be, as you say, throwing gas on the fire.
All right. I want to ask you about Boom Island because we have had, first of all, it's a beautiful park. It really sucks that it's becoming, and over the last couple of years, we've had sort of more incidents going on there late at night. We had this deadly mass shooting over the weekend on Boom Island Park. What do we do about it? What do we do about this park?
Right. So I'm going to be at the park tonight at 5:30 to speak to them publicly. I've had a lot of private conversations, and I just live a block up from the park. The little cul-de-sac area I live in, you can walk through a little back entryway. And Sunday night at 9:30, I'm sitting in my pajamas in my lounger getting ready for a tough week at work. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. shots fired.
You
And
heard it.
over
You heard it.
Oh, I live a block away.
Yeah.
And then my phone lit up from my neighbors. Like, what the hell's going on, Ringville? So I put on my trousers and I walked down there. And as I walked in, I saw the very brave police department escorting the very brave firefighters into this chaos. Hundreds of people running around, and to attend to the wounded that were laying there. One of which did not make it. Another one is still very serious. And it was total chaos. In fact, an officer said, "Michael, maybe you should think about getting out of here because we don't know if there's more gunfire."
Yeah.
I immediately called the park superintendent. I had some private words with him about what needs to be done. And now I'm making those public, which is they should immediately close the parking lot. You should not close the park, but you should not allow those cars in there because that's where the guns are coming from. Who comes to a picnic with a gun in their car or a gun in their picnic basket?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, right. It's people looking to cause trouble. And it's this balance, right? Because we want people to enjoy our parks. We want people to not, feel like we live in a state where we just can't control things. So we have to shut it down. At the same time, the park closes officially at sundown, right?
No, it's a regional park. It officially closes at midnight.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And is this a park board decision then? What's your take from them as far as what they're going to do?
Well, they've been very gracious in my opening remarks, and I will thank them for listening to me. But at the same time, I am not going to be satisfied until there is zero violence in that park, and my neighbors can be safe. I had one group of neighbors; they had their 5 grandchildren over, and they live even closer to me. 5 grandchildren under 6. Very close to that is another neighbor with 2 kids under 5. Those bullets go forever. There was a shooting in the summer of 22 at that park. 100 shots were fired. And I have reminded the park board that the world's record for shots fired in a Minneapolis park is at Boom Island. Well, that record has just risen higher. They have to pay attention to this. They have to fix a problem. I don't want to insert myself into their business, but now their business is the business of the people, and I have to step in.
What's the long-term fix? I mean, do we have to look? I remember, it was a couple of years ago when we had to close down the Stone Arch Bridge and some of that area because we were having trouble at night. Do you think like summertime, there's going to have to be more of a longer-term look at how late we keep things open? I worry that doesn't solve the problem. It just shifts it to somewhere else.
It does. And the longer term, Jason, is that parents become parents and they're role models for their children and to not allow them this type of behavior. So Stone Arch Bridge was closed because a group of kids, young men, drove out onto that bridge in a car, and a man was walking with his wife enjoying the sunset about 9:30. They went to rob him. This guy had a gun. He shot in the air, and they ran away. They jumped in the car and drove off the bridge. So, beautiful bridge. Why do you have to block the bridge off to stop kids from robbing people?
Yeah, I mean, that's the sad part of this, right? Like, I think we're correctly celebrating some of the progress that our police and our community has made post-COVID in trying to turn some things around when it comes to crime. And then you have something like this come down and you think, I don't know, man, like, are we getting anywhere or not?
Well, we're getting there. And I think we have entered into a period of time in this city due to COVID and the riots we had that we've kind of reset how we view our society. And it's so good to help people who have trauma in their lives, who have issues, but at the same time, we have to hold them accountable for their behavior. And we're trying to understand that right now, while at the same time dealing with a shortage of police officers. My heart is out to everybody, but in return, as a society, we have to ask them to behave themselves. That is not a lot to ask. If you go into a Minneapolis park, if you're at the Stone Arch Bridge, please behave yourself.
Yeah. It is not too much to ask. It is, you know, you do wonder, like, where did, whether it's parents, whether it's the community, whether it was COVID, this is sort of bigger than you or me, but you look and think, like, where did we go wrong with sort of this lost group of kids who are, I don't know, 14 to 24, and think, like, man, like the havoc that age group is wreaking on the community is it's disappointing, it's maddening, it's frustrating. It's all the things.
So Jason, what inspires you? I have two big inspirations right now. One is how hard my mother and father worked, and the other residents of Northeast Minneapolis, to stop an interstate freeway from going right through where Boom Island Park is on a separate bridge, Interstate 335, but it came in from 394, cut Northeast in half. They wanted that parkland. They worked so hard for it. And it worked up until the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And the other inspiration I have is I went to the Chiefs press conference on Monday morning at 6 a.m. as the sun was coming up on a beautiful summer day. And there were well over 130 empty gun shells, casings laying on the ground. And the police told me that they picked up another equal amount of live rounds that have been dropped when these gangsters were reloading their guns.
Yeah, gosh, man.
In Minneapolis, Boom Island Park in Minneapolis.
The neighborhood deserves better. We all do. Michael Rainville, I appreciate the time. Thanks, Mike.
Good to talk to you, Jason. Bye-bye.
That's Michael Rainville from the Minneapolis City Council. 3:49, we'll break and come back in just a minute. Jonah Kaplan, I mentioned that we're going to talk with Jonah. He had something come up at work, and he will visit with us at 4:30. 4:30. So we're still going to talk to Jonah about his exclusive interview. That and much more coming up here on Drive Time.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Let's talk about making sure that you have the best insurance coverage at the best price. There's nobody better to get you there than the Canopy Group. It's Jason. I am so proud to tell the story of the Canopy Group because I am an extremely satisfied customer. A couple of years ago, I just called the 800 number. That's right on their website, 800-967-3389. That's at thecanopygroup.com. Made the call, and I said, you know, I've heard you guys on CCO for all these years. Is it really that good of a deal? And they took my, you know, what was my premium, what kind of coverage did I have? Pretty simple. It's like a 10-minute phone call. And then boom, off Kyle went to work, comparing my situation to 16 different insurance companies to find out who had the best deal, the best coverage, and the best price. All these companies are great. But the fact that you've got Kyle and any of the 40 great people who are insurance professionals of the Canopy Group out there running your scenario and doing the comparison shopping for you, it's unbelievable. Kyle saved me $820 on my home and auto insurance over a year. See what they can do for you. You can get a quote started at thecanopygroup.com or call the same number I did, 800-967-3389.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
An air conditioner at Metro Heating and Cooling is, on average, only $5,400 installed. Find out more at metroheating.com.
Are you a veteran or service member facing housing instability or legal issues? Get the support you need at MacV's Summer Salute. It's happening June 10th at CHS Field in St. Paul. From housing to healthcare, legal help to employment resources, it's all in one place, all in one day. Gates open at 10 a.m. and every attendee gets a free meal. Let's tackle challenges together. Your service matters, and so does your stability. Visit mac-v.org to learn more. That's mac-v.org. And we'll see you June 10th at CHS Field.
New month, new flavors. Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. I'm talking about those Sleep Night gummies. I know you love them, and they even have a new and improved Sleep Night gummy. But here's a twist. They got some new flavors. So, better sleep and some yummy new flavors. Great grape, green apple snooze, and mellow mango in the nighttime blend. And of course, everybody loves the peaceful pineapple. That still exists in those sleep night gummies. Better sleep is the way to a better you. Mini Leaf can make that happen. I give these out to friends all the time. I recommend them for anybody who's having sleep troubles. You guys know they help me get off my Ambien. Really, these gummies helped me get off a pharmaceutical. I hope they will do wonders for you. Here's how you get them. Minileaf.com. MINILEAF.com.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Financial literacy. It's amazing they don't teach it in school. Listen to the Investing with Confidence show every Sunday at 11 p.m. and join us for a free investing class by texting the word investing to the number 210-210. Take action today and make a change for tomorrow. Text the word investing to the number 210-210 today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things for slow 694 eastbound, making the run between County Road 81, heading out toward 35E. If you're going to be traveling 610 eastbound, that's jammed up Broadway to Highway 100, Highway 252 rather. If you're on the south side, 35W southbound, slowing 98th Street down to Highway 13. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Clogged gutters? Call the pros, Advantage Home Pros. With the highest quality workmanship and materials, seamless gutter installation, cleaning, and covers, our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros. AdvantageHomePros.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Advantage Home Pros bringing us the weather forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 59. Tomorrow, 80. Friday, rain. Can't we get a stretch without the rain? At least my lawn sprinklers haven't had to be on. Friday, only 70. Saturday looks dry. Rain late into Sunday. That's my kid's graduation day. How dare they? Good thing it's indoors. Right now, it is 75 and sunny on CCO.
Jason DeRusha is back on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right. Breaking news. The federal judge, and you'll hear more about this from CBS, I'm sure. But you know the firebombing in Boulder, the anti-Semitic firebombing? The guy who is charged in this is obviously in federal custody. And the Trump administration tried to deport the wife and 5 children of Mohammed Soleiman. So he had overstayed a visa, if I remember correctly. And so did the rest of the family. And a federal judge has just temporarily halted that. So we don't know much more about that.
The family was also in custody, and reports are that they were cooperating with federal authorities, but that the administration also wanted to have them deported.
And Soleiman had said, like, this was a solo effort. It was just him. Nobody knew about it. You know, who knows, whatever the truth of that is. It is true that this family wasn't supposed to be here, that they had overstayed their welcome. But we do have processes for these things. Even, I know a lot of people don't want that to be the case, but there is still due process. And a federal judge saying, nope, You got to go through the process. So we'll see what happens with that. Tracy Perlman's going to be with us at 4 o'clock. We got some fun with Tracy talking about Disney shutting down one of its older attractions. Plus, what's the coolest generation? Don't forget, at 5:30, we do our Enough segment. If you can't stick around till 5:30, no problem. Send us a message. What are you fed up with? What have you had enough of? Use the voice messaging feature on the Odyssey app. It's just a little microphone. You record it on your phone, click a button, it comes right to me and Dan.
Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough, but with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind that they can pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across our multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
All right, it's Jason here with a little bit of Minnesota pork inspiration for you as you plan your weekend. Gathering with the family and friends. This is graduation party season. It's family reunion season. It's celebrate the last day of school season. Do it with pork. 3,000 family pig farmers all over Minnesota doing their best to care for their pigs, their people, and their planet. Now, if you go to mnpork.com, click on Pork 101, and then you go to all pork recipes, and just, I don't know, I say fire up the grilling section. How about grilled pineapple miso pork chops? Oh, does that look good? Grilled pork burgers. Think about using ground pork and having a delicious grilled pork burger. And you know how I love pork tenderloin with an avocado green sauce. Doesn't that sound good? Get to your grocery store or butcher shop. Plan ahead for the weekend. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner. Oh, yeah.
AM 830 and 102.9 FM HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. The voice of Minnesota and the home of Twins baseball. News Talk 830 WCCO. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin today. Linda Kenyon reports from the White House.
On Truth Social, the president described the call as, quote, a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. The call followed last weekend's daring drone attack on Russian air bases. Trump says Putin told him he will respond to that attack very strongly. The president has repeatedly promised to end the war quickly, but both sides remain deadlocked as the fighting continues.
Analyst Beth Noble has a look at some new information about the startling death toll in the war.
A well-respected think tank, the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, released a new study that puts the total number of dead and wounded in the Russia-Ukraine war at 1.4 million.
A judge has issued orders stopping the deportation of the family of an Egyptian man charged in the Boulder, Colorado firebombing. A Washington state man's been arrested in connection with the bombing of a Palm Springs fertility clinic last month. Authorities say Daniel Park assisted the bomber with chemicals. The FBI's Akil Davis.
We're able to confirm through our investigation that 6 packages of ammonium nitrate were shipped from Park in Seattle to Barkus in 29 Palms.
President Trump's increased tariffs on steel and metal are raising a lot of concerns because, as Natalie Brand reports, it impacts so many products.
Everything from, building materials to autos to food cans. I spoke to the Can Manufacturers Institute, and they say that the type of metal used for many food cans, most of it, around 75%, they estimate, comes from abroad.
Many parts of the Midwest still dealing with poor air quality from the Canadian wildfires, and that smoke is spreading. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
The smoke can easily be seen on satellite, drifting all the way down through the Ohio and Tennessee Valley down into the deep south. There are also patches of smoke moving across New York State and most of New England.
Matt Piper reports on the latest research into a costly weather phenomenon.
A team of scientists is driving into severe storms to study hail. A first-of-its-kind icy twist on tornado chasing. It is rarely deadly, but it does cause $10 billion in damage every year. Their mission is to see how it forms and how much worse it may get, with one study last year showing climate change means small hailstorms will likely become bigger and more common.
On Wall Street, investors were trying to follow the trade tariff news all day. The markets ended mostly flat. The Dow finished off 91. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour on the hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Okay, mostly sunny, 76 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. In a heated response today to the federal raid that happened in South Minneapolis, at a South Minneapolis business on Lake Street yesterday.
As federal agents moved in, chaos ensued, with many in the predominantly immigrant community and others protesting the action, thinking it was a deportation operation.
Yesterday's incident was a criminal investigation. So putting out the rhetoric that was a raid, it was not a raid.
Hennepin County Sheriff Dewana Witt lashing out against some Minneapolis City Council members and others for posting what she called emotionally charged messages on social media.
Elected officials have a responsibility to their constituents to put out accurate information. They don't have to agree with it, but do not mislead the public, causing more harm to our communities.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says they're making progress on last Sunday's shooting incident on Boom Island.
Investigators have been working very hard, several leads, hundreds of pieces of evidence that will be processed. That's going to take time. But I know they've got some very, very strong evidence and strong leads that they're working through.
23-year-old Stagina Whiting was killed in the shooting that also injured 5 others. A major twist in the Minneapolis murder trial of Derek Thompson today. Thompson is accused of killing 5 young women in a South Minneapolis crash. His brother, DeMarco, who the defense is blaming the crash on, took the stand today with testimony that Twin Cities defense attorney Jack Rice says could blow the case wide open.
DeMarco was compelled. He's forced to take the stand, and they ask him who was driving the car, and he says his brother Derek was driving the car. It is a massive body blow for the defense in this case.
Closing arguments are expected to begin tomorrow. Nurses have been picketing at 11 Twin Cities hospitals to emphasize their continuing concerns over staffing levels and workplace safety. Their latest contract expired last week, and talks with hospital leaders are ongoing. RN Melissa Knoll says they did see some improvements with the last contract, but much remains unchanged.
Our hospitals continue to focus on their bottom lines and CEO salaries at the expense of patient care, safety, support, and the retention of both seasoned and new nurses.
In a statement, the Twin Cities Hospital Group says the nurses union is expending considerable energy on events such as this, when that energy would be better spent at the negotiating table completing these talks. Minnesota Lynx forward Nafisa Collier has been named the WNBA Western Conference Player of the Month. It is the first in Collier's career and the 6th time a Lynx player has won it. The Lynx are undefeated so far this season. WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow. North 100, County 81, heading up to I-94. 94 northbound slows past 42nd into the area of Highway 252. And then 694 itself, eastbound run, that's sluggish as you make way between Zane all about to 35E. Southside Metro, you're going to find things jammed up. South 169, 494 as you head down to Old Shakopee Road. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn McCreevy invites you to a free seminar for pre-planning your funeral and cremation services to help protect your family in the future. Enjoy food, visit with speakers from the Edina Chapel Wednesday, June 5th at noon at Pinstripes Edina. For information, go to washburnmccreevy.com. Seating is limited.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Washburn McCreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Air quality has improved. It's nice to breathe again, Tony Braxton. Partly cloudy, 59, the overnight low tonight, a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Think we warm up to about 80. We do have some rain showers, mainly early on Friday, with some scattered showers possible throughout the day. Cooler because of the clouds and the showers, with a high near 70 on Friday.
Mostly sunny right now, 76 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now approved for recreational use. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRusha.
All right, here we go. It is a beautiful Wednesday. Tracy Perlman joins us. Do you like the 80s? Do you like the rain, spring, joy? What do you like?
No, I want it hot and sunny.
Hot and sunny.
I'm a true summer girl.
So you're thriving.
I'm doing very well.
Yeah.
I'm doing very, very well right now. Yesterday, not so great. Today, yeah, like this last weekend was perfect. I was outside living my life, going on walks in a t-shirt. Oh, it was wonderful.
Are you worried that the Canadian wildfire, that the smoke, that this is just like every year, this is what we're going to deal with? Can't Canada get their act together?
It would be nice if they could. And I'm team Justin Trudeau.
Right.
So I do wish that they would figure this out because one, it's a major bummer for their trees, but also it's a major bummer for us. I love to go on hikes. I love going up north. And it's really hard to go outside, enjoy a baseball game, go on a walk, enjoy a boat, and just generally be outside when it is this a the sun and the sunsets look cool, but I'll take a clear sky and better air.
Yeah,
sure.
It's kind of there's a little bit of a mood dampener that happens with the, obviously when you're chewing on campfire smoke, like that is unpleasant, but just like the lack of blue sky and the lack of sun.
It's weird.
It is.
Yeah,
weird.
it's very ominous.
I'm just worried this is it, right? Like last year, I feel like some of the best part of our summer was so unpleasant. Like I couldn't really ride my bike because it was difficult to breathe and all of that. Like, I don't know, no good.
Yeah. And I feel really bad for the businesses up north, not that you're going to necessarily cancel a cabin trip or, a trip to a resort, but it's fun to take a long weekend and go up to Duluth or Grand Marais. And if you can't enjoy the state parks or the hiking up there, the fishing, they already lose out on so much business in the winter because our winters have been so mild that you can't go up and cross country ski or ice fish or snowmobile.
Now, is it bad up there? I thought like some of it just blows past them and we get it worse than they do.
Some of it 2 summers ago, I had to reschedule a trip up north.
Oh, wow.
To go to some state parks. So it does get thick up there too. I think it was Grand Portage that had the really, really like the record for bad air just earlier this week. But this week was rough. And the rain didn't help. Normally I would think that the rain would help kind of move that system and clear it, but it just lingered.
Tracy Perlman is with us. Tracy, are you a Disney girl?
I'm not a full-blown Disney adult,
okay.
But if you know me, I love kitsch and I love magic and sparkle. So I really enjoy Disney.
All right. So I asked this because news came out today that Disney World is closing. They revealed the closing date for the Tom Sawyer Island, which does anyone care about the Tom Sawyer Island? Like the dumbest part of Disney World is the Tom Sawyer
I
ride.
know. And I understand that it's tradition, or, if you've got littles and you just want to like sit for a little bit, okay, maybe you can get on that, or you can get on the tram. I think things are so flashy and so cool and so innovative is what Disney's able to do. It just doesn't make sense in the parks anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm cool with it going. I love that they're adding Cars and Pixar into Disney World. The Radiator Springs in Disneyland is really cool. I've been
It
there
is cool. Yes.
twice. And so it's a lot of fun. And the Cars ride is really fun. I'm not a roller coaster person. I will go on rides in Disney because if I die there, my family will be well taken care of. And so so I love that ride. I think it's so immersive.
Yes.
And to add kind of that cool national park feel with that Pixar magic, I think is going to be really special in the middle of the park.
It'll be good. Piston Peak National Park is what it's going to be. Different, like you said, from Cars Land in Disneyland. I will say, like the first flight I ever took as a kid, first time on an airplane, was to go to Disney World. And my parents would drive us. So we drove from Chicago to Orlando to go to Disney the first time. And then I flew as like part of a choir trip. But it was like my family didn't have a lot of money. I was one of 4 kids. So going to Disney was like the thing. It was the biggest deal. And
it's still a big deal to go.
Yes. And I was like, as a parent, experiencing that through your kids' eyes is so cool. And also, like, I understand why, like, the Jason Mathesons of the world become lunatics and become Disney adults because it's so good. Like, I'm
so
like 2
fun.
steps away from that sort of lunacy. I can see it from like where I sit,
Oh, I will lean in. So 2 years ago, I was in California on a trip by myself, and I went with Christian Cordero, who's now at ABC News, and her wife. And we had so much fun. I got us coordinating t-shirts. I wore mouse ears the whole day, and we just leaned into it. We went for a couple hours, and it was so much fun. I mean, we did the churros, we saw the characters, we went on the rides, and it was so much fun. And I understand it, and I'm all in when I'm there. Disney Bounding, do you know what that is?
No.
Have you heard of that?
What is
That's
this?
where adults dress up like characters, but you can't wear a full costume when you go to Disney because it's confusing for the kids if they see somebody dressed like Cinderella, right? So you might wear an all blue dress if you're Cinderella and like maybe a headband, or if you're going to dress up as Ariel, you'd find a cute green skirt with a red top or something. So you're dressed kind of in the theme of the characters. And like John Stamos and his wife do it. And it's really fun to see people get into it. And
that's maybe a little weird. That's maybe a little weird for me.
Okay.
I have a line, like maybe that's it.
I have a really cute "A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes" t-shirt.
Okay.
I
I think the t-shirt is good.
I love it. It's fun.
Who is your favorite Disney character? This week, like Lilo and Stitch is sort of blowing up the movie theaters.
Yeah. Okay. So Ariel's my favorite princess.
Oh.
My favorite Disney character.
I had an Ariel crush for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Well, 91 was a good year. Wasn't it 91, 92? That was the right age for me to be into Disney and that. But Eeyore, I'm a Winnie the Pooh Eeyore girl.
Really?
Which is sad. I have several Eeyore stuffed animals.
It's like the opposite. You're like you're the anti Eeyore.
I know. Well, not in my personal life.
Interesting.
But he's just so sweet.
Yeah.
But I love all of it. Like when I see little kids freak out over Mickey, it just hits my heart.
Yeah.
Just right.
It's pretty cool.
What about you?
My favorite, I do like old Mickey Mouse. Like the very old cartoons, I think.
Like the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse? Or like, okay.
Just the way that I always liked, and
the simplicity.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, I agree.
But like
Lion King is
Lion
still one of
King,
my
Little
favorite
Mermaid,
movies.
yeah.
Aladdin. Remember
Oh,
when those movies used to come out every single year?
yeah, I know.
And then the Vault.
Oh,
Remember what a
yes.
bracket that was? Like, you're never going to see this movie
Oh,
again.
yes. That would be like the big Christmas present for us. Like,
Yeah.
we would get whatever VHS tape was out of the Disney vault. So
Yeah.
hilarious. All right,
Oh.
stand by. Tracy Perlman, she's the Director of Communication and Marketing at the XL Energy Center. Long time, behind the scenes, big shot in Twin Cities media. Tracy joins us in just a minute. Stay right there. We'll talk about the coolest generation, some science behind it. What is the coolest generation when we come back?
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, it's Jason DeRusha here for Livia Weight Control Centers. I was just at the Livia Weight Control Center in Coon Rapids this morning. It always, I don't know, it always feels good to go visit the team over there. They are who I credit. It's the people. That's the Livia difference, right? It's the people that I credit with helping me lose 45 pounds and keeping every pound off for almost 3 years. Now, I was at the Livia Weight Control Center because I am very interested to try out their new NAD Plus supplement. They've got all sorts of new supplements, trying different things to help you boost your metabolism, boost your energy. Right now, if you join Livia today, you get 3 months free of Livia's nutrition program and a free Lipo B12 injection. Livia offering medical weight loss solutions, of course. The GLP-1 medication start at just $149. The great price is nice, but the real benefit is the Livia way. You get one-on-one nutritional coaching. You get a roadmap not only to help you lose the weight, but to keep the weight off for good. I want you to enjoy your summer. I want you to stay on track and feel your best. Expert support, a plan that fits your lifestyle. Your summer, you do not have to sacrifice a thing. Just get results. With Livia, Livia.com to get that 3 months free or call 855-GO-LIVIA.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for our free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for following the smart money. Text investing to 210-210. We'll also review strategies for growing a retirement portfolio, how professionals profit when stocks are falling, and how to protect your investments against inflation. With a 25-year history, local classrooms, and one-on-one support, you're not alone. And now it's your turn. Sign up for a free investing class today. Text investing 210-210 or go to learningwithota.com.
Storm season is here. That means nature's fury will cause damage to your roof. When it does, that's when you call Brian Job of Job Brothers Construction. Because they're local, they offer same-day Twin City-wide emergency service. Job Brothers Construction will repair or replace your roof from nature's wrath. They'll also work with your insurance company to ensure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Brian and his team truly take the hassle out of a terrible situation. Working with Brian and his crew will give you peace of mind because it was done right. Just contact Joe Brothers Construction for a no-obligation, free, and full inspection. Contact them online at joebrothersconstruction.com. That's J-O-B-E, Joe Brothers Construction, handling all your roofing, siding, window, and gutter needs. They'll even repair your roof from fallen trees. Joe Brothers Construction. They get the job done right.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
But do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Life insurance.
Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Not for me. I mean, this, not for me.
I mean, it is horrifying.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Instead of a scrub like you who don't know what a man's about.
Visiting with Tracy Perlman here on this Wednesday afternoon. Tracy, the coolest generation. What would you guess it is?
I would guess it's, I don't even know what they're calling the aughts, like the little, like the kids now.
Well, they're like, yes, they're the.
Like they just look cool. They're very intimidating.
I'm afraid of them also.
Yeah.
Like the things that I guess is it like the young Gen Z? Is that what they would be? It's like Sam's age, like the 17-year-old. Seth will be 20. Like I guess he's in. Like the stuff that they think is funny, I don't understand.
I don't understand. They speak their own language. I don't understand Skibbity or Riz or other bebop, balooba. I don't, whatever else they're saying.
It's a lot of bebop, aloobop. That is for sure.
It's something with a hand jive. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. We had the Macarena. I'm a millennial. I did look this up just to confirm.
Yeah,
I'm a millennial. And
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 40.
Okay, so I'm 50. I'm Gen X.
Okay.
And the coolest generation, well, based on the fact that the youngs are all out at vintage stores buying all of our old clothes, it does seem that Gen X may be the coolest generation. The Independent reports today that Gen X is also, the surveys show that my people, we are the happiest generation too. Gen Xers born between 1965 and 1980. So they're in their 50s. And they say young people are addicted to their phones, more anxious than previous generations. Also, younger people are less likely to party recklessly. Me, are a generation that experimented with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And as we get older, we're not giving up our old habits.
No, you are a rock and roller. I can tell you go out more than I do.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not. That's because I'm an Eeyore.
That's
call that. But also, I think I grew up at a time when AIM was, that was like 8th grade, 9th grade, when we got AOL, and then all of a sudden we had phones, and then in college we had Facebook and MySpace, and I feel like my generation, my peers, we talk a lot about our feelings and how people are affecting us. And there's a lot of thought about, what are you putting online and how are you projecting yourself and how does it feel and look? I do think the generation right before me, or that like half generation like you, kind of just doesn't care. You don't really give any, right?
Yeah.
So
we had to
so
pretend
think,
we cared for a couple of years when everybody was supposed to be in touch with whatever your anxiety or issues were, but we didn't really care. We didn't.
Right. So I do I can agree with that it's sort of like, no, we're good. We're going to do what we want to do. And your kids are old enough that you can go out and do your thing and they're good. And you maybe have it a little more figured out than us millennials, but the social media aspect of it, I do think plays into it, where we didn't grow up with it, but we certainly have it and are certainly fluent in it.
Yeah, it is weird to sort of have one step in that world and one step out, right? Like my whole childhood was without any of that stuff, and my college was without it, and most of my formative being a kid in the professional world, we didn't have any of that stuff. I'm glad. I look at the stress. Now, maybe the Gen Zers are going to figure it out. Like I notice my kids are always consuming social media. They use TikTok and YouTube like I used to watch TV, but they're not really creating it as much. So
Yeah.
I wonder if they're like taking a step back where the millennials are just like, we're constantly feeling this pressure to measure up and all of that. It's
I need a
hard.
little more Gen X in my life. Like I'm tired, man. I don't want to be creating a TikTok.
Yeah. I can,
You know,
I
I do
understand.
enjoy watching them.
Yeah, I like to watch it too. One more thing before we go, because
Yeah.
you are a huge sports fan.
Sure am.
And sports celebrations, I think, I love them. I even like them if they're obnoxious. I like the Vikings, like all of their
Oh,
celebrations.
their touchdown celebrations, the end zones. Yeah, those
Amazing.
are great.
A California high school track star found out that she is not exactly in the NFL. She came in first in the 400-meter race. 400 meters in 53 seconds.
And she
Amazing.
crushed it. If
She
you watch the
crushed
video,
it.
she crushed it.
Her dad, who is her coach, told her that she was on fire with this race. And so she took a fire extinguisher that her dad was holding, sprayed her own shoes with the fire retardant, and then immediately got the championship stripped away from her for celebrating.
And was pulled from her next event that she was also expected to win.
I have mixed feelings on it because to a certain degree, the high schoolers are going to take what the professional athletes are doing. It's harmless fun, but also like it's a little obnoxious for a sophomore in high school to be fire extinguishing her shoes.
Yes. Now, according to her dad, because I saw this and I wanted to know a little more.
Yep.
According to her dad, they did it off the track. The other athletes weren't there. She kind of went over to her supporters section area and did it over there. So it wasn't like at the finish line, dad came running up with a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
I don't know what rules they have for that type of like taunting or celebration. It's certainly unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
It seems harmless. I don't think stripping a title and taking her out of the competition is fair at all. She certainly earned it. I could see reprimanding. What I don't know is, has she done this before? And
yeah.
I don't know. But like
such a mom reaction there.
I
Ben.
know,
You really
I know,
eored
I
it.
know, and
You
I
are
hate
leaning
myself for
into that.
saying
Yeah.
that. But okay, so I could see the officials getting mad about that because maybe they were concerned that something did happen. But a slap on the wrist and a warning maybe feels a little more appropriate, not stripping her title and giving it to somebody else. Also, the person who got second place certainly doesn't deserve first place. They didn't win it. She won it.
Agreed.
And so that wouldn't
Lighten
feel
up.
fulfilling
High
to
school
me.
authorities can lighten up a little bit. I can see a reprimand, but like stripping the
Yeah.
title seems pretty crappy to me.
Yeah, that's, maybe I would feel differently if she ran up to the other people and started spraying them with the fire extinguisher. I mean,
It's a pretty good bit. You're on
Yeah.
fire. You spray your
Well,
shoes with a fire
Here's
extinguisher.
what I want to know.
mean,
Where'd the fire extinguisher come
that's a
from?
fair
Who
question.
thought, you know what? She's going to smoke these people and we're going to bring that fire extinguisher.
Her
It's-
her coach dad is giving me Deion Sanders vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't love that.
We
But
don't.
you know what? She ran, she earned it. She's got the talent and she should be able to keep her title.
Very good.
So
Tracy, appreciate it. Thank you as always.
all right. Thanks, guys.
Drive Time with DeRusha is on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, it's Jason here with a little advice for somebody who's maybe shopping for Father's Day or looking for an upgrade in your own style. I recommend visiting J.H. & Sons at the Galleria in Edina. I have had such a great time working with the team at J.H. & Sons. They're family owned. You can sign up for their mailing list. It's right at jhndsons.com. That way you'll be the first to know about good deals, sales, all of that kind of stuff, events they have in the store. I was just at J.H. & Sons on Sunday visiting. Man, they were hopping in there. Lots of guys trying on linen pants and shirts and getting suit jackets kind of measured up for wedding season. If you want a premium shopping experience, sort of a throwback to me, it's sort of like the way things used to be, where you get taken care of, good service. They know your family. They know what you've got coming up. J.H. & Sons is going to absolutely thrill you. Go see my friends, Kevin. Tell them you heard us talking about it on CCO. They're right at the Galleria. Great shopping center right there in Edina. JHandSons.com.
As the weather heats up, so do the Twins' bats.
On a hit down the third base line, and that's the game winner.
This time of year means grilling weather, yard work, hitting the lake, and baseballs flying out of the park.
Pulls this one deep into the corner. It's gone for a home run. 2-run shot for Trevor Lund.
So fire up the mower, grab your headphones, and catch the best sounds of the summer.
It bounces off the bullpen wall. Buxton's coming to the plate. He will score. It's a 4-2 Twins lead.
Twins baseball on the flagship. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Have you seen the wind or hail affect your home? Honest Exteriors offers thorough inspections and can be your advocate with those tricky insurance companies. From the first raindrop to the final nail, Honest Exteriors is with you. Local pros, honest work. HonestExteriors.com.
Postman Law is about winning. If you've been hurt in a crash, on the job, or anywhere else, we fight to get you the most compensation possible. With over $3 billion recovered, our track record speaks for itself. Call 844-POSTMAN. Postman delivers. Speed, ease, and results. Offices, Minneapolis.
When it's time to sell a collection of gold, silver, valuable coins, or jewelry, who do you trust? American Rare Coin and Collectibles in Bloomington specializes in evaluating and purchasing valuable collections quickly, clearly, and with immediate payment. For over 30 years, families, trustees, and professionals have relied on American Rare Coin for transparent pricing and straightforward service. Located on American Boulevard, we make complex decisions simple and valuable assets easy to liquidate. Schedule your appointment today at AmericanRareCoinAndCollectibles.com.
1877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
We've all known someone who's been trying to sell their home for a long time and has had no success whatsoever. We also know someone who sold their home for a lot of money right after it goes on the market. You want to be that second person. You want to contact my friend, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Betty did just that. Betty was desperate to sell her home. She hired another agent before she called John. Her house sat on the market for more than 100 days. With no luck, John assured her he could get the job done, and he did. It only took him 16 days to sell Betty's home. You can hire the right agent the first time by contacting John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000. Online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Whole Foods Market, shop in store online. Things pretty heavy across the entire system. Busy out there. South 35W, that's a slow ride. Hennepin all the way down to Highway 62, actually. Crosstown eastbound slowing. Gleason out to the Mendota Bridge. 494 eastbound, watching the heavy stuff there. West Bush Lake Road, heading up toward The area of Highway 13. 694 eastbound, a jam up in place is moved between Zane and 35E. Find seafood savings at Whole Foods Market. Get 20% off sustainable wild-caught fresh halibut fillets with Prime through June 10th. Grill this light, delicious fish with roasted veggies on the side. While supplies last, shop in store online. Terms apply. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Dave Lee for Aquarius Home Services. Our weather roller coaster means the hot, humid days are on their way. Take care of your air conditioner before the summer heat arrives. Enjoy 50% off and schedule your AC tune-up today at AquariusHomeservices.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by Aquarius Home Services. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Fresher air, a partly cloudy sky will cool back to 59 tonight with a pretty calm wind. Mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, warming up to about 80. Rain showers move in on Friday. There'll be a wave early in the morning, then some scattered showers possible later in the day. 70 will be the high. Saturday looks dry at this point with a better chance of rain early on Sunday.
Right now in downtown Minneapolis, sunny and 76 on CCO.
Let's roll with more of Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Just a heartbreaking interview with the parents of one of the slain Israeli embassy workers. Sarah Milgrim's family spoke with Channel 4's CBS Minnesota WCCO. Pick your identifier, but spoke with Jonah Kaplan exclusively, and Jonah's with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Thanks for making time for us, Jonah. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Jason. Thank you.
Obviously, understanding a little bit more about Sarah, and for people who maybe don't remember all of the details, but Sarah was really executed in what you could certainly call a terror or a hate attack outside of the Capitol Jewish Museum in D.C. She and her boyfriend or fiance were both workers at the Israeli embassy, right?
They were both workers at the Israeli embassy, but we have to, I think, make a point to say the shooter didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
The shooter and the gunman showed up at a Jewish museum.
And that was the motivator.
Correct. And I think in all of these events, they're not asking, if you look at anti-Semitism in history, this isn't really about religion, right? They're not asking who you believe in. You're not asking about, do they keep kosher? They're not asking about how often they go to synagogue. They're associated with the Jewish people. They're associated with the Jewish state. That's enough. They should be killed. And that's exactly what happened. And for many members of the Jewish community, certainly in the Twin Cities, across the upper Midwest, across the country, around the world, Sarah and Yaron's death were personal because it could have been any one of us. And when we think about what happened in Boulder, a walk for the hostages to raise awareness, that walk happens every week around a Minneapolis area lake. Every week. And for security purposes, I won't say where and when it is.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Yeah.
And so these are not isolated incidents. And this has been brewing, sadly, for a long time.
Well, and you feel this personally, right? You're the son of two rabbis. I mean, you understand sort of the fear, and I assume, I don't want to assume, but I'm going to guess you've been on the receiving end of hate.
Look, thank God, I think America is still a beacon of light in the world. And I think if we think about comparing, let's say this time, the governor of Pennsylvania is firebombed, rescue crews are going to help him. EMS crews are going to help and try to save victims of these attacks in Boulder and in Washington, D.C. In the Holocaust, remember, they sat back and watched as synagogues burned. So there's no comparison in that sense. There is definitely, though, fear. There's definite fear among Jewish communities. That is why there is heightened security at every Jewish institution. You will not find a Jewish institution in the Twin Cities, really anywhere in the country, without an armed guard. That includes preschools.
Jonah Kaplan is with us, and after we're done, Jonah, I'm going to play a little clip of your interview. I know you've been doing nonstop interviews today, so we wanted to grab you when we could. But tell me, how did you get Sarah's parents to speak with you?
Well, another good question, Jason, because at the surface, what does a Minnesota reporter have to do with any of this?
Yes, right.
They're not from here. It didn't happen here. Totally irrelevant on the surface. But again, as I mentioned, this could have been any, this was personal for the Jewish community. And I'm grateful that CBS, asked me for my efforts on this. And look, in any kind of reporting that we do, whether it's someone who survived a tornado, whether it's someone who survived a car crash, whether it's someone who's struggling to make ends meet or they can't pay for their health care, you appeal to their humanity.
Of course.
And you try to find ways where we say, let's work together to raise awareness and let's try to lift the spirits and lift the, in this case, political and historical literacy among our societies. And so when I reached out to the Milgrims, I said, look, yes, journalism is what I do, but who I am, as a member of the Jewish community, and I'm also the father of 3 daughters. And Sarah, she's now going to be a wonderful role model for them. And Bob Milgrim called me back and said, look, we've received a lot of messages, a lot of invitations to interview, and your message really touched us.
Huh.
And I think journalists of any outlet in any city covering any topic, we need to return to those roots of humanity, of acknowledging and validating pain and perspective, and assuming that responsibility and taking it seriously to communicate that with our viewers and listeners and readers.
Boy, Jonah, I mean, that is just so well said, because that personal connection, I think, especially now you look at the way that so many people react towards journalists and media in general. And some of that is our own fault in the media for not leaning into that human side of our existence.
And what's the point of it, Jason? Are we putting them on TV just to see them cry? No. What can we learn from this? What are the takeaways? What are the lessons? Not just about looking back, but what does this mean moving forward? How do we prevent the next tragedy? We're never going to cure anti-Semitism. Right. There's that old Jackie Mason joke, 3 constants in life: death, taxes, and anti-Semitism. But how can we educate people about the nuance, about the history, so that when you hear some of the old stereotypes, or you hear now some of the chants in these rallies and protests and encampments, what do they mean? Are you really anti-war, or are you just being anti-Semitic?
What was the biggest takeaway as we talk with Jonah Kaplan from WCCO TV Channel 4? The biggest thing that will sit with you that came from Sarah's parents?
There's so much that sits with me. I think about the remarkable soul that she was. I think about the love story that she had and that I identify with, of falling in love with the land of Israel, not necessarily the state of Israel, but there's a Jewish connection to that land, that wanting to see peace in that region, to understand other people's plight, to increase dialogue. And I'm really going to lean into just that identity of, and by the way, I mean, I think to myself, and I tell us, we talk amongst our community members, everybody says, speak out, speak out. I said, no, not just speak out, show up. Show up. You know what anti-Semites really hate? More Jews, more proud Jews. And we want to be that light to the nations. If you have a question about something, ask, read, learn the history of this strip of land that is at the center of a number of continents, and that has been tossed around empires and other kinds of kingdoms like a hot potato. It goes back thousands of years. We've got to read up on that. And critical issues require critical thinking. And I think we have a crisis in this country about that. Whether that starts in higher education or earlier, or whether it breaks down later, we'll take another 10 minutes in another show.
Yeah.
But we got to start somewhere.
Jonah Kaplan, thank you. Incredible discussion, incredible story. But what you've said here, I think, is really meaningful. So thanks for doing it.
Jason, thanks for having me.
Jonah Kaplan, check out his story. It's on cbsnews.com. We will play you a clip from that conversation that Jonah had with Sarah Milgrim's family, because I think Jonah set the table here for what you're going to want to listen to from them, and we'll do that next.
It's the Afternoon Ride with Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about taking care of your skin, taking care of your health, and going to the best people in the Twin Cities to help you get it done. Jason DeRusha here, so happy to talk about my dermatologist, Dr. Mohiba Tareen. She is incredible. Her team is incredible. When you go to Tareen Dermatology the first time, you will be struck, like I was, by the love and the care and the kindness. The first time I went to Tareen, it was for a full body skin checkup. My dad has a history of skin cancer. My father-in-law was having skin cancer issues, and it made me concerned. I was nervous until I walked in the door. You can feel it sometimes, right? You've been in a scenario, you've been in a health care scenario where you can feel the difference. I just felt it. You feel that you're in a safe space. You're with people who care about you. And I tell you what, the success of Tareen Dermatology sort of speaks for itself. They have 9 locations now: Roseville, Faribault, Maplewood, Monticello. Man, you got to check out the beautiful clinic in Hudson. They're in Eagan, Farmington, Lakeville, and Lindstrom. And I tell you that so you know there's a Tareen within a drive from you. You can call them at 651-633-6883. One number will get you to all those offices. Or you can book an appointment online. Tareen will get you in within 3 weeks. Unheard of in dermatology. Go to Tareen, Tareen, dermatology.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, Denny Long here. Whenever I'm looking at doing some home improvements around our house, I only go to Linda's Construction, a single contractor for all your home improvement needs. And right now at Linda's, you can get 50% off installation labor on those great leaf guard gutters, Infinity by Marvin windows, or GAF asphalt shingles. Just visit lindasconstruction.com or call them at 844-9-LINDAS. That's 844-9-LINDUS. Linda's Construction.
Thielen Meats of Pierce is where tradition meets taste.
Family grown, employee owned. We've mastered the art of meat.
That's why we're the #1 meat market in Minnesota.
And we're located right here in Pierce.
Check out our mouthwatering selection at thielenmeats.com.
Better yet, stop in and see for yourself. We're serving up love one cut at a time.
Thielen Meats, from our family to your feast.
No meals complete without Thielen Meats
of Pierce.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Oh, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
35W southbound near 38th Street. You get to find an accident working. Left 2 lanes affected. Things are just jammed with heavy stuff. Stop and go traffic in place as you come up out of downtown Minneapolis. Traveling south on 69, a jam up there, 494 to Old Shakopee Road. If you're going to be traveling over on the east side of the metro, get ready for some slowdowns. South 35E, Wheelock Parkway down to 494. 494 eastbound is a slow ride between Lindale heading over to Highway 13. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw & Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Bradshaw and Bryant bringing us the weather forecast tonight. Partly cloudy, low of 59. Tomorrow, 80. Looks great tomorrow. Friday, 7. Rain showers. Toronto in town for the Twins. Saturday looks good. That day game should be great. And then Sunday, rain late. Yeah, little rain continuing here in the Twin Cities. Right now it's 76 and sunny. Enjoy that on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
20 plus years of being a news anchor and reading teleprompters your whole career. And then somebody gives you an opportunity to just say what you really think, and you just get unhinged and you just go for it.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
So you heard from Jonah Kaplan, and if you missed that interview, go to our YouTube page, YouTube/WCCO Radio, and rewind and check that out, or check the podcast later. It was tremendous. Here is some of Jonah's conversation with the family of the D.C. shooting victim, one of the 2 victims killed outside a Jewish museum. Here is Jonah Kaplan's reporting.
There are people now that are calling the man who allegedly shot and killed your daughter a political prisoner, a hero, free Palestine! Someone who was working to be a liberator.
I don't know anything about those, but Sarah wasn't against the Palestinians. She wasn't against the people in Gaza. She was, in all her heart, working towards finding a way for everyone to live together peacefully.
There's nothing more important in Judaism than life and the sanctity of life. And to what end is this fighting and sacrifice? What does it accomplish? Taking my sister from me, it's not going to accomplish anything.
Usually a parent tries to mold their child. Sarah molded us. She was a stronger person than I ever was.
Local reporter Jonah Kaplan connecting on a human level with those parents. And, you know, already people are going to say, like, wow, you know, what about the innocent people who were killed at the hand of Israel? We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. We can be upset about a government's political action. We can. That doesn't make you anti-Semitic. But if you are looking at protests and activity around this country, and you are convincing yourself that none of that is because of hatred towards Jewish people, you got to wake up, man, because that is just not reality. And it's also borne out by the fact that the violence has been happening. So, yes, we can have a political conversation. I'm no Benjamin Netanyahu fan. But also, let's remember what started this latest escalation in violence. So we can be against all of this, and you can do it without the hatred towards the Jews. I think, anyway. Appreciate Jonah's time. Hope you check that out if you joined us in the middle of it. Great reporter over at Channel 4. We are going to do CBS News. Then we're going to come back. And at the top of the hour, we'll have the lead. We will get into some of the political fallout of the federal law enforcement as they are being questioned in some ways, the political conversation about the raid in South Minneapolis. We also have enough. I want to give you a chance to send me a voice message. If you listen on the Odyssey app, or now's a great time to download it. Download the Odyssey app where you go to listen live to WCCO. Click on the button and send me a voice message. What have you had enough of? My enough involves a text message that I got, and it seems like almost everyone else got today as well. I've had enough of that. So we'll talk about all of that coming up. Big third hour coming your way on CCO.
New month, new flavors. Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. I'm talking about those Sleep Night gummies. I know you love them, and they even have a new and improved Sleep Night gummy. But here's a twist. They got some new flavors. So, better sleep and some yummy new flavors. Great grape, green apple snooze, and mellow mango in the nighttime blend. And of course, everybody loves the peaceful pineapple. That still exists in those Sleep Night gummies. Better sleep is the way to a better you. Mini Leaf can make that happen. I give these out to friends all the time. I recommend them for anybody who's having sleep troubles. You guys know they help me get off my Ambien, really. These gummies help me get off a pharmaceutical. I hope they will do wonders for you. Here's how you get them. Minileaf.com. MINILEAF.com.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
At California Psychics, we know some people can't read the career warning signs, like your boss still not knowing your name.
You, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
So talk to California Psychics and receive the career guidance you need. We only connect you with the very best, so guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com today for limited time offers.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home, now just $6.99. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over time with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Anytime is tune-up time at Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing. For only $59 gets your AC ready for the summer heat. Just visit us at callapollo.com. That's callapollo.com.
Minnesota's #1 for the latest breaking news. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Federal authorities say they've arrested a Washington state man who they allege provided chemicals to bomb a fertility clinic in California. The alleged bomber was killed, but 32-year-old Daniel Park was found in Poland and deported to the U.S.
Park was in possession of an explosive recipe that was similar to the Oklahoma City bombing.
The FBI's Akil Davis. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti reports the two are believed to have met in online forums.
This speaks to a level of radicalization that is incredibly rare here. The FBI describing it really for the first time to us as a suicide bombing. How the two met online, we are told, sharing a similar ideology, extreme nihilistic views, this idea that life has no meaning.
A judge today issued an order to stop the deportation of the wife and 5 children of an Egyptian man charged in last weekend's attack in Boulder, Colorado. There was a vigil today for the victims injured in that firebombing. Governor Jared Polis.
Today, we return here
to the site where this occurred to show, and by deeds and words, that terrorism does not win.
Jim Krasula reports on the continuing smoke from the Canadian wildfires, clogging the air in much of the Midwest.
Air quality alerts are posted for all of Iowa and Michigan's Upper Peninsula and parts of Wisconsin, Indiana, and Illinois, including metropolitan Chicago. Minneapolis resident Philip McGraw has noticed the smoky conditions on his many jogs around town.
I can feel the difference in my breathing. I can taste something in my mouth.
Rain moving across the upper Midwest is expected to clear some of the wildfire smoke from the region. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
Elon Musk continues to lash out at the president's spending package. And as Linda Kenyon reports from the White House,
the Trump ally who led the president's Department of Government Efficiency says, quote, kill the bill. On social media, Elon Musk wrote, a new spending bill should be drafted that doesn't massively grow the deficit and increase the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. He added, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay.
President Trump spoke to Russia's president today about the war in Ukraine. Erica Brown reports there was no progress to report.
Trump said he had a good conversation with Putin, but not one that would lead to immediate peace. He says Putin stressed that Russia will respond to Ukraine's latest drone attack on Russian airfields.
Ukrainian President Zelensky urged allies not to show weakness to Putin in the wake of Russia's threatened retaliation. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials finished the day 91 points lower. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour on the hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
And it's mostly sunny, 77 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara speaking out today after yesterday's federal raid in South Minneapolis that prompted a chaotic protest. Homeland Security says despite what some city council members posted on social media, the operation was not an immigration and deportation raid. Chief O'Hara says he was not even made aware it was going to happen.
I think there's no question everybody learned yesterday just how heightened and how tensed the issue of immigration enforcement in this city is. That being said, when things are tense and heightened and spiraling out of control, you need leaders to step back and gather the facts and deal with the situation that was unfolding.
O'Hara says there were no arrests yesterday. A blow to the defense in the murder trial of Derek Thompson.
Prosecutors called DeMarco Thompson, Derek's brother, to the stand, asking him who was driving the Cadillac Escalade that crashed into a Honda Civic, killing 5 young Somali women. DeMarco told the jurors that it was not him, but his brother Derek.
DeMarco Thompson didn't want to testify.
Twin Cities defense attorney Jack Rice says DeMarco's lawyers had said he would claim the 5th, but Rice says they sweetened the deal when they gave him immunity.
They found guns and they found all kinds of drugs in that car. And if he has to testify as to what he knows, then what's going to happen is the feds could turn around and charge him too. And so they said, well, the state's going to grant him immunity, but all we want to talk about is who was driving the car.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The Minnesota BCA has identified the victim and officer involved in a deadly shooting in Paynesville Monday night.
Police were called to a report of a domestic dispute between a man and a woman. The woman had been assaulted. Officers attempted to arrest 80-year-old Larry Dale Alstead when he appeared at the bottom of the basement stairs with a handgun. Stearns County Deputy Paul Orvis fired his weapon twice. The BCA says Alstead then shot himself. Orvis is on critical incident leave. Police body-worn cameras were active during the incident. Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
At the state capitol, Republican House Speaker Lisa Damuth says things are friendly among lawmakers as they continue budget talks with Governor Walz, but the timing on a special session is still unclear.
I have said that I thought today, Wednesday, was maybe going to be a special session. No date has been set, but I'm very optimistic that it could happen at any point in time when the governor is ready to call that.
She says one hangup is a bill that includes tax increases on things like cannabis sales and electricity for data centers, which Republicans oppose. Maxfield Elementary School in St. Paul holding a groundbreaking ceremony today on a first-of-its-kind project in the state. The 2.4-acre schoolyard adjacent to the school building will be transformed into a vibrant green community space and will offer a nature walk, pollinator gardens, a micro forest, and some basketball hoops. St. Paul City Council member Annika Bowie.
We deserve this. Rondo deserves this. Our families, our elders, our future leaders deserve this. So as we are here to break ground today, let's celebrate not just what this space will be, but what it is. It is a space of hope, resilience, undeniable strength in the Rondo community.
This phase of the project is expected to be complete by the fall. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
35W southbound area of 38th Street, crash working. Last check, still blocking the left lane, still jamming things up as you make way through downtown Minneapolis, coming down from Washington Avenue. If you're going to be traveling across town, that's a slow ride both directions between Hiawatha and Gleason. If you're going to be traveling along 35W southbound into Burnsville, get ready for the slowdowns there as you move past 106th Street. It looks like we got some slowdowns 35E between Cedar and County Road 11. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Flint Hills Resources, Pine Bend Refinery in Rosemount. You see it as you drive by. Did you know they're celebrating 70 years of producing fuels that help move us forward? To learn more, go to pinebendrefinery.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Flint Hills Resources. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Air quality has improved. It's nice to breathe again, Tony Braxton. Partly cloudy, 59, the overnight low tonight, a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Think we warm up to about 80. We do have some rain showers, mainly early on Friday, with some scattered showers possible throughout the day. Cooler because of the clouds and the showers with a high near 70 on Friday.
Mostly sunny right now. Beautiful afternoon, 77 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
We've never been the station for hi-fi, but we are for Wi-Fi. Tell your smart speaker to play News Talk 830 WCCO.
Okay, I can do that.
No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRusha.
All right, if you're trying to send us a voice message for Enough, we're 20 minutes away from our Enough segment. If you're watching on YouTube, right now I'm showing you how to do it. You open the Odyssey app. I personally go down to search. I click on the search button, and it says stations near you. I click on WCCO, and then there it is, right next to the listen live button, send a voice message. You click the button, up pops up a little thing that says tap the microphone to record a message. What have you had enough of? Funny is welcome. Serious is welcome. We'll get into that at 5:20. But first, DeRusha Hour News headlines. We begin with the lead.
Now, time to get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the day. These are the DeRusha Hour headlines.
Good evening. Our top story.
This just in.
Our top story.
We begin tonight with.
We begin tonight.
We begin tonight. We begin tonight. We begin with the lead.
And this federal operation at Lake Street at Las Cuatro Milpas yesterday continues to be a major talker in the Twin Cities. Politicians blaming each other, blaming ICE, blaming the feds, mad, angry, on edge, all of that happening. Within the last couple of hours, we got a statement from a U.S. Congresswoman, Ilhan Omar. She is the U.S. representative for that part of the Twin Cities. And Representative Omar said our community is on high alert, panicked, and scared after yesterday's federal enforcement action. What we saw with the militarized force and unjust misuse of force created chaos that was on full display. And then she said, we don't have all the details. It was part of a criminal investigation. We might not be able to give more information, but we'll share it. So we're kind of all over the place here, right? This is what we know. It was not an ICE immigration raid. and ICE agents were a part of it. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry, was on with Chad Hartman earlier today.
When I heard from the chief, there were, two questions that I had. The first was, is the MPD involved? And the answer is no. Now, we do have an obligation to keep people safe. And when you have a standoff between protesters and federal agents with large guns, wearing fatigues that are in a neighborhood that are not familiar with, dealing with people that they are not familiar with, yes, we have an obligation to keep the peace and to make sure that people are safe. And we stand by that. That is a critical piece.
It's kind of a no-brainer, right? Federal law enforcement agents should be commended for going after people who are accused of drug trafficking, money laundering. We need to support the ability to investigate and raid and go after people. We also can fairly look at law enforcement and say, you know what, knowing the circumstance, and I get it, when you're a federal agent, sometimes the way you put together a force to carry out a warrant is you bring other agents in. So if you're Homeland Security, maybe you bring in the U.S. Marshals, and maybe you bring in the DEA, and then maybe you also bring ICE. Hello? How about don't bring in ICE right now? This doesn't seem that difficult. A way that you still can carry out your duty. We should support that and cheer for it. At the same time, why are you driving everybody crazy when you know that people are on edge? Unless you just don't care. That does seem to be the vibe coming from the federal government, that they don't care. But here in this state, I think we do care. And so could this have been done better? I think so. Do I hope that they get to the bottom of whoever's smuggling drugs and money laundering? You better believe I do. So we can support both of those things at the same time. Next up, news in the Star Tribune this afternoon that the one holdout of Back to the Office is making some minor steps that are being noticed. Target has recalled more employee groups. That's the headline in the Minnesota Star Tribune this afternoon. This story breaking just around an hour ago. And Target is not saying that they have changed their policy. Don't you love corporate America? You're like, do we really know what's going on here? No, we don't. Target is saying we didn't change our corporate policy.
Remember that story the other week about being better communicators at Target, especially when it came to in-house communication? Remember that story? How they were going to do that?
Well, I don't know that I'm going to throw them under the bus on this one, Dan. In this situation, I do think Target has always said that individual teams have the ability to do whatever they want. If you're a merchandising team and you think it would be better to have the clothing team or the electronics team in office, it's your team. Call them in if you want to call them in. What we see here is more of those teams doing that. Now, is that Target saying to their kind of lower managers, like, hey, you guys could do this if you want? I assume yes, right? But who knows?
Maybe if there was better communication, we wouldn't have an answer to that
Well,
question.
they don't need
That's
to
my
communicate
point.
to us. Is there good internal communication? We don't really know. Multiple divisions have been notified by managers in recent days and weeks. They'll be expected to work at the office soon, is what the paper reports. The reason this matters is that at the end of last year, Target was the second largest downtown employer, 7,000 plus employees designated as headquarters employees. There was a time when Target was the number one downtown employer. And I know, like, my friends who work at Target feel like It's not their problem to support downtown. Why should they have to come to the office? And I would say there used to be 500 small businesses in the Skyways, largely set up to support Target. And now what happened to them? So we celebrate it. If Target is coming back, I think it's going to be great. I wish, as always, we've been consistent, Dan, saying that if we were in charge, we would provide incentives for people to come back to work. Give them, you get a premium, a pay premium. You get more vacation, whatever. The carrot to get you to come back to work. To the surprise of literally no one, corporate America has decided to hide at first. No, we're not going to make you come back to work. No, we love remote work. You guys are efficient. You're doing great. Culture is fine. We can do that over Zoom. You knew corporate America was going to corporate America. You knew that they were going to bring people back to work. And what a shocker. They're bringing people back to work. One more thing in the DeRusha Hour news headline lead, and that is the Fortune 500 list that has just come out in Forbes. Minneapolis St. Paul Business Journal reporting on this. Minnesota has 17 companies in the Fortune 500 list. Number 3 is everybody's favorite company, United Health Group, right? I mean, who do people love more? It's a big company. Moved up to number 3. They were number 4 last year. Polaris fell off the list. But remember 3M did the spinoff of that healthcare company, Solventum. So we're still at 17. Target lost a little ground. U.S. Bancorp improved. Ameriprise and Thrivent all improved. Best Buy is 108. CHS is 115. General Mills is 216. So lots of Minnesota companies. Hormel moving almost $12 billion. I think mostly spam, right? Do you think? Probably some bacon. Hormel makes the pepperoni in most. When you get a pepperoni pizza, if you get the good pepperoni, it's usually Hormel. This is what I take away from the rankings. That is the lead of the DeRusha Hour news headlines. Let's do page 2 in just a moment. We'll talk about how a college hockey arena became the go-to high school graduation project, new development happening in St. Paul, and the biggest war going on in Edina. That when we come back.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here for my friend Chris Lindahl and Chris Lindahl Real Estate. And right now, there are more and more people who are stepping up and saying, you know what, I need Lindahl. I need Lindahl. The breaking news in the real estate world is that pending home sales have been plummeting. So what does that mean? That means that we're shifting to a buyer's market. So the buyers are in control. Uncertainty is the new normal. And what Chris Lindahl was telling me is that more and more people are reaching out to him for a guaranteed cash offer than ever before. And I get it. When my wife and I work with Chris, you could see why he's number one. Let me put it this way. Because when you get a guaranteed cash offer, you are not getting as much money as you would get if you ask Chris Lindahl to sell your house the traditional way. But the question is this: what's it worth to know that your house has a guaranteed buyer? What's it worth to be able to pick a closing date that works for your life? What's it worth to not have to lift a finger to get your house ready for sale? Have to deal with the whims of a buyer who's in, who's out, who's got this inspection, who's got that. What's it worth to be able to sell your home today and move forward? If you are a decisive person ready for action, get to chrislindahl.com today. Guaranteed cash offer. It is 2025. It is time for this kind of innovation. chrislindahl.com. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-317-1890. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-317-1890. 800-317-1890. 800-317-1890.
Heading out for the weekend? Lucky you.
Don't forget to stop at Thielen Meats of Piers for some melt-in-your-mouth moments. Mmm.
High quality beef.
Fresh and smoked sausages and brats.
Home smoked bacon.
All natural chicken.
A great selection of fish and seafood.
Visit us at ThielenMeats.com.
We've got the cuts that'll make your meal.
Call to order ahead and pick up on your way to the lake.
You'll be the hit of the party.
No meals complete without Thielen Meats of Piers.
In my opinion, they are simply the best. Who am I talking about? Aquarius Home Services. How do you track them down? AquariusHomeservices.com. I've had Aquarius at my homes for 30 plus years. I want the best quality water. I want it for multiple reasons. Number one, safety. I want that drinking water system. Get rid of those chemicals and it tastes great. And how about the water softener? The best. Track them down. Tell me the spot from Chad. AquariusHomeservices.com.
Not available in all states. Rates vary. Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough, but with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind that they can pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across their multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
DeRusha now returns on News Talk 830 WCCO.
The Rush Hour News headlines, page 2, and we begin with the question of how a hockey rink became the official headquarters for high school graduation. Yeah, that's right. I'll be there on Sunday night listening to young Sam DeRusha. Good Lord, should I be afraid about what that kid is going to say? Sam is one of the 2 graduation speakers for Maple Grove High School. 23 high school graduations hosted there this year. Minnesota Star Tribune writing about this. Once the mess from one school is cleaned up, in come thousands more from another. Mariucci has become the go-to for large suburban schools looking for an indoor air-conditioned commencement venue that can hold about 6,000 people. Now, my high school, suburban Chicago, had 400 kids, and our graduation was on the football field, and it was so hot. How
hot was it?
It was so hot. Anoka Hennepin was the first district to reach out to Mariucci as a commencement location about 15 years ago. And now, do you think they were worried about, oh no, people are going to be hot and sweaty? No, they were worried about, well, we don't want to tear up the football field. We don't want to wreck the turf. It's always the football players. We got to worry about them. My wife, her sister graduated from Wayzata High School. And I remember going, at least I think, yeah, because we were dating when Kim was like 10. So the Wayzata graduation was at Northrop. But Northrop underwent a big renovation, and Northrop used to have about 5,000 seats, and now it has about 2,800 seats. So Mariucci is the only air conditioning building on campus that can handle the crowd. So that's sort of how it happened.
My graduation from Osseo High School back in was at Target Center. Target Center. I think we had a graduating class. I'm trying to remember. I think ours was just over 500. My brother graduated 2 years later with just over 700.
It costs about 10 grand. That's the base price to rent out Mariucci. And then you got to pay for, so it's, 11 grand a day is what Anoka Hennepin said. And then you pay more for security and police and emergency medical support and then the AV and all of that. But yeah, it brings in about 200 grand for Mariucci. Not bad. Maybe they could fix up the joint a bit. St. Paul City Council rolls back rent control. And my gosh, you wouldn't believe what would happen. All of a sudden, there's a lot of this happening. Fred Mello and the Pioneer Press reporting on groundbreaking for a long-stalled, almost $70 million phase of construction within the Highland Bridge area. So they'll get the first retail addition since that Lunds and Byerly is located over there. The Highland Bridge, it's the old Ford plant. It's about 50% developed. But the Ford plant closed in 2011. It's been about 13 years of planning, soil remediation, and building construction. Rent control, the fact that the city rolled back some of it. The other part of the delay, it's not 100% rent control. The interest rate environment has been part of this as well. But now 4 single-level retail buildings, a 97-unit mixed-use apartment building with more retail, and a 2-level parking structure happening in St. Paul. So good news there. The biggest war in Edina is Southdale versus the Galleria.
Does anybody want some cake?
Yeah. That's very good. Minneapolis St. Paul Business Journal reporting about some of the battle over luxury. It's been very interesting as these two venues have been duking it out. Which of these stores gets you excited, Dan? So we got Louis Vuitton.
I mean, it's so tough to.
You're kind of a Louis Vuitton guy, aren't you?
Not even remotely.
No,
not at all.
All right.
No, sorry.
Louis Vuitton. How about Tiffany?
Yeah, no.
No?
Nope.
I could see you like with a nice, beautiful Tiffany, like maybe like a pinky ring or something.
Yeah, no.
Gucci, Burberry, Moncler, Max Mara, David Yurman, Watches of Switzerland / Rolex. Any of that?
No.
Lululemon, Tory Burch, Legacy Toys. No. Southdale with a new luxury wing scheduled to open on June 12th. $400 million that the mall's owner, Simon, has spent to try to take America's oldest enclosed mall into the future. I've been told that there's been a little bit of kind of strong arming to get some of the Galleria retailers to move across the street. Because if you are a national retailer, Simon has a lot of malls. And so Simon's like, hey, you want to be in my mall in Orlando? You want to be in my mall in New York? You want like, we'll see you across the street. Better get over to Southdale. Galleria is attracting plenty of other operations. They got Aloe Yoga, Lasery, a couple other spots, which will fill those holes, but kind of interesting in Edina. That's the deal. Is there a Cinnabon? Jonathan wants. Nikki is asking, is there a Cinnabon? I think
now you're talking my language.
I think Southdale does still have a Cinnabon, so you're good to go. That's the DeRusha Hour news headlines. Let's do enough. Your rants, your raves. What are you sick and tired of? The voice message box is open. The email inbox is open, jason@odyssey.com. And you can call or text too at 651-461-9226.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You hugged at the door, chatted on the sidewalk, waved from the car, then texted "great seeing you" while still sitting in the driveway. That's not just goodbye. That's a Minnesota goodbye. At News Talk 830 WCCO, we honor the Minnesota goodbye by never rushing the conversation. In-depth reporting, engaging back and forth, and always enough time for one last thing. This is News Talk 830 WCCO, your home for headlines, hot dish, and the long goodbye that leaves no story half told.
New month, new flavors. Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. I'm talking about those Sleep Night gummies. I know you love them, and they even have a new and improved Sleep Night gummy. But here's a twist. They got some new flavors. So, better sleep and some yummy new flavors. Great grape, green apple, snooze, and mellow mango in the nighttime blend. And of course, everybody loves the peaceful pineapple. That still exists in those Sleep Night gummies. Better sleep is the way to a better you. Mini Leaf can make that happen. I give these out to friends all the time. I recommend them for anybody who's having sleep troubles. You guys know they help me get off my Ambien, really. These gummies help me get off a pharmaceutical. I hope they will do wonders for you. Here's how you get them. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF.com.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
If you've inherited valuable coins, gold, silver, or jewelry, where do you turn? American Rare Coin and Collectibles in Bloomington is the trusted choice. For over 30 years, families, trustees, and advisors have relied on American Rare Coin to evaluate and purchase valuable coin and precious metals collections with honesty, transparency, and immediate payment. We make the process simple, and we're conveniently located in Bloomington on American Boulevard. For experience and honesty, visit AmericanRareCoinAndCollectibles.com.
Do you know what the scariest sound to hear on a factory floor is? Silence. That means something somewhere broke. Production has stopped, and now you're paying your workers to wait while the team troubleshoots and tries to fix the problem. Finally, there's a proactive way to reduce equipment downtime, thanks to MaintainX. MaintainX is the asset management system that brings your maintenance downtime to zero. MaintainX lets you build preventative maintenance schedules, manage work orders in real time, and access the data you need to make better decisions. Downtime equals death in the production world, so make unplanned downtime a thing of the past. Try MaintainX for free. Control the daily operations of your business and transform your maintenance program by going to maintainx.com. That's maintain and the letter X.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Connected TV is one of the most effective channels for driving measurable advertising results. That's because when your customer's not scrolling, they're streaming. Let Viant put your ads right where they are, on the best content across the most premium platforms in the world. We're talking real consumers, big screens, big outcomes. With Viant, you get people-based targeting, AI-powered performance, and full access to inventory built to seize eyeballs, not clickbait. Viant, where premium streaming meets performance. Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Louisville got a crash working south 35W, 38th Street, left lane shut down. Traffic is down to go as you come down from the area of Stinson. If you're traveling 94 eastbound, looks like we have a possible crash near 11th Avenue. Things are tight coming in from Highway 55. If you're traveling 100, that's jammed up both directions between 50th and 394. And on the east side, you can find 35E northbound near Highway 13. Getting word of a crash there. Things are slow past Wagon Wheel. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRusha here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, the Canopy Group bringing us the weather forecast. Boy, it looks nice. I can't wait to get out of here, Cook. 25 minutes. Because it looks beautiful outside. You can't.
I thought you were going to say something about this place that you were trying to get away from it. I didn't know what was going on.
Here is Chris Schaefer.
Fresher air, a partly cloudy sky will cool back to 59 tonight with a pretty calm wind. Mix of sun and clouds tomorrow, warming up to about 80. Rain showers move in on Friday. There'll be a wave early in the morning, then some scattered showers possible later in the day. 70 will be the high. Saturday looks dry at this point with a better chance of rain early on Sunday.
It is sunny. It is 75. And this Saturday looks like the best day of the week. And I'm bringing my parents to the Minneapolis Club right in downtown Minneapolis. Cannot wait to bring them to brunch. The Minneapolis Club, a lot of people, I'm a member, so I go there. I love it. It's been such a great place to hang out. They have a great gym and all of this stuff. But anybody can go to Charlie. So it's a bar, it's a restaurant. You can make a reservation on their website. But, if you're hanging out there on Saturday, say hi to me and Maggie and Gary, and we'll see you at the Minneapolis Club.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
I don't like the funny stuff. And I know what you're thinking. I'm familiar with your show. You clearly don't like the funny stuff.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I have had enough! Enough is enough! Enough!
It is your time to let her rip. I love this segment. Every Wednesday, you get to vent about what you've had enough of. I always think of stuff during the week. Things come up. You're like, that's an enough. That's an enough. If you ever think of it during the week, you can always send us that message. Send us a voice message. Send us a video at jason@odyssey.com. And already, Dan, usually I go first.
Yeah.
But I would like to cede the floor to one of our listeners who used the voice messaging function on the Odyssey app. So you go to Odyssey where you listen live to our show. If you're in the car, it hooks right into your CarPlay if you got that. But on the WCCO page, there's a microphone where you can send a message. And here's one that we got. Oh, sure. Somebody calls right when.
Sorry, I thought you were going to go the long explanation, so I thought I had time to put that person on hold. This is Gabriel in Woodbury.
All right.
I've had enough of remembering what I'm going to complain about once the segment is over.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Because sometimes it takes a bit. Thanks, Gabriel. So you can send your messages in. You can call or text at 651-461-9226. And I would like to begin with the really lame effort by the scammers. So look, if you're going to be a scammer, at least put a little effort into it. I have had enough of shoddy scammers. So today, I, along with apparently the rest of Minnesota, got a message that purported to be from the Minnesota Department of Vehicles, the DMV. Now, Dan, do we have a DMV in this state? We do not.
No, we have MnDOT.
We have a Department of Vehicle Services. We have a DVS. So that was my first sign because I'm a state government nerd.
Clearly.
Now, my second first sign is that, and I did say my second first sign, is that the iMessage came from +63 962 822 9408, which I did have to look it up. 63 is the Philippines country code.
Oh, which is probably not where the Minnesota Department of Vehicles is going to be messaging from.
The text said, in accordance with North Minnesota State Administrative Code 15C-16.003, which I don't believe we have a North Minnesota State Administrative
I wouldn't think
Code.
so, no.
But I supposedly have an outstanding ticket. And the worst part of this is that if I don't pay it, they're reporting me to the DMV violation database. They're suspending my vehicle registration. They're suspending my driving privileges. And they're transferring to a toll booth and charging a 35% service fee. Now,
oh, no.
I don't know at all what that means. I may be prosecuted, and my credit score will be affected. I admire the impressive crackdown on scofflaws who are not paying tickets. But, like, could we be a little more kind of accurate in the nonsense that they're – I mean, you expect me to fall for this? There was a time in this country that scammers had a little pride in the job. They made an effort. What the hell has happened? What has happened to this country? Enough!
Can I build off of that one?
You may.
Because speaking of scammers, over about the last 2 weeks or so, I've gotten somewhere between 10 and 15 copies of this particular voicemail.
Indicates that you may have unfiled tax returns or outstanding tax debt. You could qualify for the debt resolution program, which might significantly reduce what you owe, but eligibility is limited. It only takes a few minutes to see if you qualify. Please give us a call at 877.
And I clipped off the rest of the number. But here's the thing. This comes from a number that's a 315 area code. And if you're not familiar with the 315 area code, that's because it's Rhode Island and you would have no reason to be familiar. Except, so kudos to my cell service because the call never actually comes to me. It just immediately kicks to voicemail. But I've deleted somewhere, like I said, between 10 and 15 of these voicemails, including 2 today. I showed you one when it popped up. And I've had enough. It's like 2 seconds of my time, but it's just annoying.
Do you believe that message originated on the moon?
It kind of sounded that way. Maybe they had to bounce it up to a satellite to get it to the Philippines, and then through the texting system that texted you.
Yeah.
And then back around and then through and then under a thing. And then you get that voice quality there.
What's amazing about today's text message is it appears to have been sent to literally everyone in the state. I posted about this on X. I don't know how you didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
Because there were people in my comments who said that they've moved out of Minnesota, but they still have, like Dave Brown. I haven't lived in Minnesota since 2010. But kept my cell phone number, and I just got this text. My friend Brian says that he has an 812 area code. And so he got a text message that says he has an outstanding, the same text message, except he was violating the North Indiana State Administrative Code. Why the North? Why that?
What they have against people in the North?
Yeah. Sick and tired.
I'm even looking in the spam and blocked folder in my text message.
You didn't get it.
I did not get it.
So your feelings are hurt that you didn't.
I feel a little left out.
Yeah. Kind of makes you wonder. Why were you left?
I've had enough of being left out by the scammer.
651-461-9226. Jonathan is on the line. Jonathan was watching us on YouTube.
It's my favorite time of the day, my friend. How are you?
We are awesome. What have you had enough of, Jonathan?
Okay, I have 2, and please forgive me. Okay. And it's going to take a little minute. I hate going to the grocery store and having to bag my own groceries.
Oh.
It makes me insane. And then they want to charge me 5 cents. Why are you charging me 5 cents for a freaking bag that I still have at home from the last visit that I didn't remember to bring with me? Have somebody at the checker, do it fast, get me in and out. Drives me nuts. I've had enough.
I totally agree with this. And I would prefer to get in line with a human. But like when I was at Cub, I like Cub. I go to Cub the other day and you still have to bag it. I'm like, well, I don't really want to bag it. So I want to see the person because I like human contact. But if I'm going to bag it, I may as well go to the self-checkout.
Yeah, it drives me bonkers.
At Lunds and Byerly's, they bag it for you. At Kowalski's, they bag it for you.
It's a pain in the butt, and it makes me crazy. Now, the second one that I have.
All right.
The second one that I have. All right. Please forgive me about this one. Now, as you know, around the Twin Cities, anywhere you go, you see the Jehovah's Witness people standing outside every walking crossing
It's
point.
true.
What the hell do I need to see Jesus every time I go to the damn grocery store?
It sounds like you do need to see Jesus, actually, with that sort of language, Jonathan.
Excuse me, but it's like they're everywhere. They come in twos every morning. They come in twos every evening, and they come outside. Great. I don't care if you're standing in there, but I do care if you're standing there trying to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There used to be a law where you could not stand, in front of a store. Let's bring that law back. There are more things to worry about than, finding Jesus.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy.
Don't they?
I hope
there's usually like a sign, like they've got like a big, and I can't even think of what it says, but
it says free Bible classes. I believe in the Lord. Okay. Believe me. But when I'm walking down the street, I don't need to see you standing there praying to the Jesus to take away homosexuality.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
I wish the mayor or the governor would outlaw that, because for those of us that don't believe the way they do, it's an infringement on my religious beliefs. If you really want to know the truth.
Jonathan, very good. Thank you. I think there may be some constitutional challenges with Jonathan's approach, but we don't have a constitution here on Enough. You can say whatever you want. The only law is the law of your frustration, which rules this half hour. 651-461-9226. Lots of text. We've got more voice messages, too, on the Odyssey app. How about you send me another one during the commercial break? We'll be back here on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha is on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You have not had enough of the amazing prices you're going to get at Surdyk's this week. It's Jason from my friends at Surdyk's right in Minneapolis at University in Hennepin. You can shop online at surdyks.com. And starting this Thursday, tomorrow, Surdyk's launches their big rosé sale. So every bottle of rosé wine in the store is going to be on sale, 15% off. And I love rosé. Rosé wine is fantastic. It is, I don't know, I think it's great for sitting on the patio, hanging out with friends. Rosé works great with burgers, with pizza, with brats. It just works for the summertime. And 15% off works for me, I'll tell you that much. That sale starts tomorrow. But if you got to get to Surdyk's tonight, get to Surdyk's tonight. They've got a special going on right now on anniversary presents. If you want, it's called Cheers to the Years. They have a 1-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year special anniversary gift box. So if your anniversary is coming up, get to Surdyk's. They've got some awesome bottles in those boxes, too. Family owned, 90 years. 4th generation, Surdyks.com. Plenty of free parking in Minneapolis at Surdyk's.
You know that feeling when you're about to cut into a juicy steak and hope it tastes as perfect as it looks? Well, worry no more. The Chef IQ Sense is a wireless cooking thermometer that eliminates under or overcooking your chicken, fish, or meat, whether on the stovetop, oven, or grill. The probe is inserted into your food and connected wirelessly to an app. Once you select your desired doneness, the app alerts you when to take the steaks off the grill or the turkey out of the oven. It's that simple. Order one now on chefiq.com. That's chefiq.com. Most data breaches don't come from hackers. They come from old laptops and phones sitting in closets. Studies reveal that these neglected devices are a leading cause of data breaches. Recycling your electronics protects your data and the planet. At Electronics Recycling of Minnesota, we offer free, secure recycling services for both individuals and businesses, with certified data destruction options available as well. Protect your data. Protect the environment. Learn more at ecyclemn.com. hims.com.
Hi, I'm Adam Saba, third generation at Dodge of Burnsville. As a business owner, you need commercial vehicles that have the power you need, room for your gear, and service you can count on. Let me introduce you to Business Link at Dodge of Burnsville. We have a complete line of commercial vehicles to get you and your crew on the job, and an award-winning service department that is second to none and gives you peace of mind. Stop in today and see why nobody sells more commercial Ram trucks than Dodge of Burnsville. That's why we are the King of Ram. Just off Cliff Road and 35W or kingofram.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
College holds a mythic place in American culture, but there are stories you won't hear on the campus tours.
The higher-ups are concerned about one thing, and that is avoiding scandal.
I'm Margot Gray. On the new podcast, Campus Files, we cover everything from rigged admissions to the drama of Greek life and student protests. Listen to and follow Campus Files, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is Traffic and Weather Together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino, West 494, Minnesota River Bridge. Crash into the left lane has been taken care of. Traffic remains slow. Those come down from Pilot Knob Road. East 494, that's a slow ride. Lindale heading out toward the Minnesota River Bridge. Traveling north 35E is midway past Highway 13. Some activity into the right lane. That's swinging down back at Highway 62. If you're on 35W southbound, earlier problems at 38th have been cleared out, but it's still jammed up out of downtown. Buckle up for an unforgettable night of music when Rick Springfield brings the I Want My 80s tour to Treasure Island. Relive the 80s with Jesse's Girl and other Springfield classics, as well as hits from special guests John Waite, Wang Chung, and Paul Young, Thursday, June 19th. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCL.
The face of Minnesota veterans is changing. For the centennial year celebration, DAV of Minnesota invites you to join the ongoing effort to fulfill promises made to the men and women who served our great state and nation. Donate today at davmn.org.
Now the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
DAV of Minnesota bringing us the forecast tonight. Partly cloudy, 59 so low. Tomorrow, 80 degrees. Rain coming in on Friday. Right now, it is sunny and 75 on CCO.
Drive time continues on the roads and on your radio. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Enough!
All right, we're venting. One of the texters gave a great answer. I have had enough of cottonwood trees. I left my car window slightly open and my back seat was full of them. Man, Dan, I was at a friend's house on Sunday and you practically needed a shovel.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I was driving over the weekend, but yeah, no, it was just all over the place.
If you have allergies, as you know, I have very little interest in people's allergies. People with allergies, there's nothing they like more than talking and bitching and moaning about their allergies. I do not care. But I did have a moment of empathy with all the cottonwood falling around. Just awful.
And it just sticks to everything. And it's,
Another voice message on the Enough Odyssey hotline. Here we go.
I'll tell you what I've had enough of. Those little kids on the side of the street selling lemonade. I'm about up to here because I'm probably $75 into these kids.
Wow.
Because I can't pass them up.
I know.
I gotta give them little jerks And that's not their fault. But I got to give them money every time because I got to do it.
Somehow this...
I've had enough already. It's only June 4th. Enough of the lemonade stands.
Somehow this complaint turned into like a humble brag about how much money that voice message leaver is giving to the lemonade stand. I feel the same way. I told the story once of the time that I pulled over at what I thought was a lemonade stand, but in fact it was like kids selling like charm bracelets that they had made.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, I wanted a lemonade. I'm helping the kids in the lemonade.
You know what we haven't had enough of?
What?
Checking the temperature of the Twins.
Let's go. Let's do it. Here we go.
Let's take the current temp of your Minnesota Twins. Brought to you by Chef IQ Sense. Get your wireless meat thermometer now at chefiq.com.
All right, the temp of the Twins, in my view right now, is a little unclear. Because the team itself, the bats were red hot last
That's just it. You want to say it's red hot. They scored 20 runs in the last 2 games.
That's right. 10-3 win over the rather mediocre at best Athletics. But Pablo is going to the injured list. Pablo Lopez, likely to go to the injured list after leaving the game after 5 innings. They think he strained a right lat.
Yeah, shoulder tightness was the initial diagnosis. We'll see what happens. He said it wasn't kind of in the rotator cuff area, and he didn't hear anything pop or feel anything pop. So fingers crossed it's not too terrible.
More enoughs, tailgaters, wildfire smoke. Well, that's pretty bad, too. Henry's next.
Hi, Kenny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show.